You know, it's not from the U.S., these soldiers that are dying all over the place. 7,212, they say, last week. Think of that, 7,212 soldiers for no reason. Should have never happened. Should have, if the right person were here, it wouldn't have happened. I can guarantee you that. But it did happen, and we've made some good progress. Interestingly, we made a lot of progress today because of what took place in the Middle East. Only the deep thinking business people would understand that, of which we have a lot of them. We have a lot of legends in the room tonight. And that's why we're here, to celebrate you, because you've given tremendous amounts of money to see a ballroom built for the first time at the White House. The White House, for 150 years plus, they wanted to have a ballroom, and it never happened because they never had a real estate person. For me, I like it. For me, it's like, I love it in between China, Russia, and everything else that we deal with. It's going to be a great ballroom. It's going to be a great ballroom. As an example, this has really been the ballroom for many years, and it holds 100 people, of which we have 125 today. But you know, we have 128, and I've never seen it with 128. And by the way, you can have a little good entertainment from the military band right after this. You'll see some really talented musicians. They're going to do a few songs, and you're going to love them. They're very talented people. But so for years they've wanted to have it. And when they have the head of China, the head of any country, we have many of the countries came, and they'd always put the tent out on the lawn. And it was not raining, you'd get away with it a little bit, but it's still a tent. And the biggest dignitaries in the world, not only political, in many ways, many other ways too. And so I always said that if I pull it off again, we are going to build the ballroom, and I'm going to start right at the beginning. And we had it designed by one of the top architects in Washington, who's very, very respected, and very, very respected actually. And we started the process, and we have it concluded, and it's actually starting right behind us. And if you look, this is really a knockout panel. Should I show you? I guess maybe you start seeing it. So. I don't really want you to walk on there, but you can take a look if you want. There it is, because we took out all the strength from underneath. That collapsed. We collapsed it over the next few days. It's going to be demolished. Everything out there is coming down, and we're replacing it with one of the most beautiful ballrooms that you've ever seen. And you have some pictures, and basically it's right here. Here's your White House. Here's the West Wing, and here's the East Side, which has been tinkered with for years and years and years. And they had originally a very beautiful building. They call it the East Wing, but that was sort of semi-knocked down about 5 times and changed and redone. And everything else was originally done by McKim and White, great architects. And so that came down, and mostly it's taken down already. And we've started excavation. I'm very good at building things on time, on budget, that I can tell you. You're not going to see, like the Fed, where they're up to $4 billion or something to paint some walls. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. This guy, he's too late. He should have been too late with that one, not done it. It would have been, it didn't need to be done. He could have painted the ceilings. They ripped down a gorgeous ceiling like this. And then they said, we have a problem. Now we have to put one up. How do you do a ceiling like this? And they're way over budget. They decided they wanted to do a basement, but unfortunately the basement is right next, you know, you're right next to the Potomac. And when it went down, they should have stopped immediately, because that they should have known. But they have a little thing called the Potomac River where the basement is. But they said, we're going to get it done anyway, so you build what's called a reverse bathtub. And it's not that uncommon, but it is actually a reverse. You seal it. The problem is nature always wins. I know a lot about reverse bathtubs. I've done it. And it's something you only do in emergency. There was no reason to do it there. They could have actually, if you think about it, they could have added 3 floors on top, and it would have cost about $2 billion less. So they ended up in this disaster of building a basement in the Potomac River and keeping the water out. It's very hard to do as you're pouring your concrete, which has to be dry. And it's been a disaster. And this is the same guy that keeps the interest rates too high. We should be much lower in interest. We're doing so well, but we would have been, as good as that is, even better. I don't think it's affected us much. You can't. We have an all-time high stock market. Everybody in this room is extremely happy with Trump. If you weren't, I would have postponed it. I would have said, let's do it some other time. But the stock market hits records almost all the time. Every once in a while, we'll have a little situation come up that drives it down, but it comes right back. We're doing really well in trade. We're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars on the tariffs. The tariffs are making this country so rich, and they're making it powerful. We stopped a lot of these wars using trade. We had, as an example, India and Pakistan were going at it really hard. 7 planes were shot down. It was going to happen. Bad things were happening. And I was talking to both of them about trade. And I said, how are we doing with those two? Sir, we're doing very well. I'm like, great. Well, we're not going to do well. We're not going to do a trade deal unless they stop the war. And I got him on the phone, and I said, listen, we're going to put a 200% tariff on your country for any product you sell into the United States unless you stop this war, because I'm not going to be a party to it. You have 2 nuclear nations, by the way. No, you can't do that. I say, I can do that. Very easily I can. We're not going to have to lose millions of people from the planet. And frankly, that dust could blow over here too. It affects everything. It's a powerful, powerful weapon. Too powerful. So powerful you don't want to talk about it. So they said, no. I said, yes. Here's the story. If you're going to go and do it, we're cutting off all negotiations. There'll be no trade with the United States of America. Both nations, I spoke to them both. I like both. The leaders, I like them both a lot. But I said, that's the way it is. And I get a call the next day. We have decided to de-escalate. I said, I thought you would, actually. We have decided that we will not fight. I said, have you come to a conclusion? Yes, we're not going to do any more. And they stopped. It stopped. Just like that. This could have been a nuclear war. Probably would have been. In fact, the Prime Minister of Pakistan came and saw me, and he was emotional about it. And in front of a group of people, he said, this man saved 3 million, 5 million, maybe an untold number of lives. And it was just recently that this happened. And we did numerous of them like that. And part of the reason we did it was trade. I think of the 8, I would say 5 were because of trade. You know, the power of trade, but the power of tariffs. And tariffs have made us a very kind nation, because a lot of people aren't dying. I use it for purposes of stopping wars. I love stopping wars. And sort of interesting, I'll be the only president, I don't think any president stopped 1 war. I stopped 8 wars in 8 months. Did I get a Nobel Prize? No. Can you believe it? Even I said, yeah, that's an impossible one. But it's all right. I think next year will be better, but I don't know. You know what I care about? I saved maybe hundreds of millions of lives, but certainly I saved. So now we'll get back to the point on hand. And that's where you're really here, because you contributed to this incredible building that people have wanted for so many years. And we show another building. It's an arc. It's the arc. So that circle, that's Arlington Memorial Bridge, as you know, it's sort of the most important one, a very important structure. And at the end of it, you have a circle that was built 150 years ago. Nobody knows really when. And in fact, they put a couple of columns on each side. So you have 2 columns on one side, 2 columns on the other. But you have in the middle just a circle. And everyone that passes it said, something was supposed to be built there, and it's true. But a thing called the Civil War interfered. That's a good reason. I would say that would be a good reason, right? The great Ike Perlmutter. The Civil War, if you said you're having a war, I think they have a good reason not to build. Again, you know, they were building the Washington Monument, then they stopped, and you could see where they stopped because the stone is a little different color when you get up to the middle. But anyway, they stopped here. And then they were, in 1902, they were going to put a statue of Robert E. Lee up. Would have been okay with me. A lot of people wouldn't have liked it. Would have been okay with me. Would have been okay with a lot of the people in this room, but they didn't do that. And so for years and years it sat, and every time somebody rides over that beautiful bridge going right to the Lincoln Memorial, it's so beautiful, right? It's, they literally say something's supposed to be here. And so we have versions of it, sizes of it, and it's going to be really beautiful. I think it's going to be fantastic. There's a rendering of what it will look like. You have 3 sizes. That would be the largest one. This is just a model of what it would look like in either of the 3, any of the 3 sizes, which is right here. I don't know if you can see it. So that's Lady Liberty. Lady, did you ever hear of Lady Liberty? On top. But, so the sizes would be very different. Now here's Lady, and this is sort of facing this way. And so we got this direct line. They did this and into that. So this would be, I go, small, medium, and large. Whichever one to look good. I happen to think the large looks quite fun. Why are you shocked to hear that? So we're going to, just do something for the city. I'm so proud of what we've done with crime. This is a very safe city now. This went from a very unsafe city where you were afraid to go out to dinner to a city that's extremely safe. The people that we have working on this, it's been a miracle almost. It took 12 days. We took out 1,700 people, brought them back to their countries from where they came. Many of them were let in through the Biden open border, brilliant thing, where they let people in from jails, from prisons and mental institutions, insane asylum, that's a mental institution on steroids. And I mean, they were literally emptying out insane asylums into our country. This is Venezuela, but other countries also, not only Venezuela. And speaking of Venezuela, we have a lot of drugs. We had a lot of drugs coming in by water. That stopped. In fact, nobody wants to go fishing anymore. Nobody wants to do anything near the water. They might have a beautiful boat, and they might as well get rid of their boat because they are very nervous about going on the water. It's been amazing. So now we were having literally a subway train of people and drugs coming into this country. A lot of them coming from Venezuela. A lot of them come from Mexico and Colombia too, in all fairness. But we wanted to knock out one track, and I can tell you we cannot find anybody anymore. We're looking down, they're looking down. There's not a boat on the entire ocean that we can see outside of the ocean liners, and even they're a little bit concerned about it. But it shows you the power and the strength and the technology of our great military. We have, I rebuilt the military in my first term. We had a great first term. We had the best economy ever. We had a rebuilding of the military. We had the big tax cuts and the all of the assets of the tax cuts, including the 1-year depreciation. You write it off in 1 year. Now we have better under the great big beautiful bill because we have no tips for, think of this, you have no tax on tips and you have no tax on Social Security, and you have for your workers, you have no tax on overtime. It's really I would say a middle of the road bill from the standpoint of who is it representing. It's the workers. It's the biggest bill ever passed in the history of Congress, and I'm glad we did because we don't need any more bills. We have everything in that one. Plus we have the deductibility every single year for 10 years. The other one had it for 1 year. You had a rush. This year, this time you don't. Actually, I was in favor of rushing because that's awfully good for elections, but it's not about elections. It's awfully good. So you have deductibility. You have so many different things. We have great social programs, $50 billion going to rural hospitals. So the great, big, beautiful bill, and we got it all in one. I was very happy because we had little arguments about that. A lot of people wanted to do it in small chunks. I said, if you do it in small chunks, you'll never get it approved. You'll get some approved, but not all of it, and not even close. You get much less, I would say less than 30%. So they've never done this before. They put every single thing that I wanted for 4 years in one bill, and we call it, some people call it different. I call it the great, big, beautiful bill, because that's what it is. And this will keep us, what we want to manage it now. We're going to manage it. All you have to do is that, but we got it all approved. And one of the things I thought, though, while I do, because it's so relaxing for me, real estate is relaxing. For a lot of people, real estate is a very trying business. I've always liked it. I've always done well with it. I love building things. And this way, I can build some beautiful things. And This, again, has never been built, and we're going to start that pretty soon. It's going to be great. And then the ballroom for the White House is the thing that you people have really, really been very generous with. And we're going to build a room that's going to be able to hold literally the inauguration if we want. All of the glass on the sides is bulletproof. It's 999 people it can hold. So if we figure we have 125 people in here approximately now, which I've never seen before. I've always heard it's less than 100. But it's amazing when you have too many people, you can fit them in. You know, you can always fit a few more people in. And pardon the fact that you're a little tight at your table. That's okay. That's better than lots of room for everybody because nobody shows up, right? But you've been so generous in your contributions. Very substantial money, fully financed. It's fully taken care of now. And, in fact, we'll have money left over, and we'll use that for something. We'll use that probably maybe for the Ark or something else that will come. But we love to fix up Washington. If you went to the Oval Office, you'd see the Presidential Walk of Fame, and you've heard about it. And with the exception of one particular picture, there's no controversy. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. It's this beautiful long wall that existed for a long time. It's just literally a wall with half windows on top. And that was originally built as a swimming pool. Now it's where the press is, on the other side of the wall. And it's very interesting. All these people over here with all their cameras, although they've been very respectful, I'll tell you what, they've been very respectful for what's taken place over the last week. So I want to thank you. This is just a small little group. They have a big group downstairs. They have a lot of reporters downstairs wanting to be where they are. I don't know. These, I guess, are you special? This is Doug. Doug, who's he won the highest awards there is in photography, including Pulitzer Prizes, right? He won many Pulitzer Prizes for his great work. One that I wasn't so happy with, he had one with a bullet moving along. He caught the bullet. Can you believe this? He got another Pulitzer. But anyway, it's great to have you, gentlemen. It's really good. They have a whole group downstairs, a big group downstairs. I didn't think you'd like to have that up here because they can be, some of them are sort of violent towards some of you, but not bad. So we did a design that is being, just lauded for the ballroom. Showed it to the top people. One of the things that I like the most, I came in and I said to the people in the building, I said, if I make it back, I want to build a ballroom for the country, really, because this is really, they call it the people's house. It's the country's house. I want to build a ballroom. It needs it badly. And a ballroom that could seat 600 or 700 people so that when you have state dinners or more if it's possible. And I said, how long would the process take? Because I'm so used to zoning. And I've gotten a lot of zoning over the years to these two guys, these two geniuses, like movie stars. And